Hello and welcome. I'm Andy O'Rourke. I'm a former defensive assistant for Stanford, San Jose State, and then worked at Pro Football Focus. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into the Oregon Ducks offense. We're going to be sitting down like we're in the Texas Tech meeting room, working for this defensive staff and trying to game plan how you're going to stop this Ducks offense. What do they do? How do they like to attack you? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And so forth. Hope you enjoy. And without further ado, let's get into the video. First thing we're jumping into here today is the offensive overview. And we want to get an idea of how this offense works, what they're going to do. And that all starts with their offensive coordinator here, Will Stein. Will Stein's been around the league for a little bit. He's in his 12th year of coaching. He's even coached Texas high school football. He started off as a GA at Louisville before he became a QC, worked his way over to Texas. Then he was at UTSA, and then eventually worked his way up to be the OC of Oregon, where he's really transformed this offense. And looking at what he likes to do, it's very similar to that Shanahan-type run game. He likes inside zone, outside zone, and counter. And the beautiful thing with outside zone and counter being married together is the backside of outside zone can turn into counter, right? So if you feel backside, outside zone, you'll get that guy to surf, but it's really a counter play going underneath. It's a really nice marriage together when you're running those to such a high degree. He loves RPOs. He's going to RPO you to death. He loves screens, play action, and everything's really built off this run game, right? So they're going to be taking deep play action shots off of it. They're not that high tempo team anymore, though. They're only snapping the ball with about 12 seconds still on the play clock, which is pretty standard right now for college football. But when they want to go fast, they will speed you up. They'll snap the ball with 22 seconds on the play clock when they go tempo. And he's very diverse with his personnel usage. He's got 11 personnel as his number one, which is America's personnel. But it's only at 41%, where most teams you see today in college football are at 60, 70%. You dive into his 12 personnel looks, he's at 32%, 21, 16. Then you get 13 personnel at 5%, 22 personnel at 2%, and then a bunch of other random ones packaged in there as well. So it's a very diverse personnel groupings, which though also gives you some really good tendencies to build off of as we break them down. The number one threat for this team by far is Kenyon Sadiq, number 18 for these Oregon Ducks. He's a real dominant player. He plays tight end. He's an All-American, and we'll dive into him more in a bit, but he's going to be a real key factor for him. Looking more into Coach Will Stein's play calling, again, it all focuses around the run game, but you see this also in his play after tendencies. After a sack, he's pretty pass heavy, and this is the only situation where he is a pass heavy coach. After a sack, he's only ran the ball once, and he's thrown the balls 5 times here. So pretty pass-heavy attack after a sack. But outside of that, you get an explosive pass play, it's going to be a run play. You get an explosive run play, he's coming back probably with another run, a little bit more balanced. But Will Stein, he wants to run the rock. He wants to control the football. He wants to take play action shots off this, stretch you vertically downfield that way, and then work you east and west with the screen game, the outside zone, really tire out your defense. So when it's late in that fourth quarter, Oregon has that winning edge, and that's kind of the foundation and core of what Will Stein is looking to do. Next, we're going to be diving into this quarterback, Dante Moore. Moore, first-year starter here for Oregon, stepping in for Dylan Gabriel, got drafted by the Browns, and he's having a phenomenal first starting season here with them. He's been a real dynamic playmaker, honestly, probably one of the best quarterbacks in college football. His only stinker game was really Indiana, and he's been dominating Big Ten offenses all season long. He's a pretty good run threat, all right? He's got about 300 yards on the season rushing it. I wouldn't say he's crazy elusive in space, though, all right? He only's got 0.04 missed tackles per attempt on the season, but he's a smart runner, definitely a run threat. He will get involved in the read option game, but he's not stupid. He's not going to go run and get into these car crash hits. He's a smart runner. Now, he's got 3 fumbles on the year, but you go back and you watch these fumbles, they weren't poor ball security. They aren't strip sacks. They aren't him running downfield with poor drop ball security. It's these long developing read option plays where there's some miscommunication with him in the back, ball ends up on the ground, and that's where those fumbles came from. So I'm really not too concerned about his ball security. I think he does a good job protecting the football, but he does have 3 fumbles, and that's something to be aware of. That ball will come out on the mesh. They have some miscommunication things. We've seen it 3 times this season. Be ready for that, all right? You got to be ready to jump on those balls. Next, he gets the ball out really fast. An elite processor. He's got a 2.55 average time to throw. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of time for this pass rush to get home. He's a super quick decision maker. I mean, you even see that against the blitz. When you blitz him, he's been dominant. He dissects defenses left and right against the blitz. A 2.33 average time to throw. There's not many weaknesses in this kid, right? But there is one, all right, against cover two, which is tough to run against Oregon because they run the rock so well. I mean, if you're going to be in cover two, you got to be stunting the front. You really got to be trying to do a lot of things to help out those linebackers. So you really want to stay out of cover two against the run. But if you can get into some play calls where you can run cover two, this has caused him some problems this year. I wouldn't say it's a massive flaw, but I think it's something where he doesn't see it very much and he can throw him for a bit of a loop, right? So his average time to throw jumps up from 2.55 to 2.77, which is a pretty massive increase for a guy that really gets the ball out fast. So slows down his processing a little bit. He's also thrown 3 interceptions. He hasn't thrown many interceptions this year, but 3 of, I believe, his 8 interceptions on the year have came against cover 2. So dynamic, dissecting the plays. Except against cover 2, he'll put things in harm's way. He's only thrown 1 touchdown against it. So on top of all that, half of his total sacks on the season have came against cover 2 as well. So something's going on here. Cover 2 causes him some problems. That'll give you a chance to get after the quarterback. And I think as we look into this study more, as we break down the third downs, I think you'll see why cover 2 is a pretty effective play call. And if I was Texas Tech, on third downs, I would be living in a lot of cover 2. It's causing them a lot of problems. In particular, when we start cover 2 from a single high look and then rotate to that 2 high post snap, that's been the most effective against him. Dominant against the blitz, mobile, super accurate. The one thing we don't know, how does he handle drop back pass situations? Overall in the year, he's got 28 total touchdowns. Half of those have been coming in drop back pass situations, but he's also thrown 7 interceptions in that. And again, the Indiana game is the only time where this run game's really been stopped. He thrives off the play action. And this drop back pass game is so limited. I think if Texas Tech wants to beat Oregon, they're going to need to shut down this ground game and force Dante Moore into more drop back pass situations. You do that, you're going to be putting him out of his comfort zone. Doesn't have the nice crutch of this amazing run game where that play action fakes off of it, opens so many things up downfield. That's going to be the key. Off of play action, he's only thrown 2 interceptions all year to 14 interceptions. He's got a 73% completion percentage against play action versus a 69% completion percentage in the pure drop back pass game. Night and day difference for him-ish. I mean, he's still dominant, so maybe night and day is a little bit of an exaggeration, but I think if we're going to have a good opportunity to stop Dante Moore, we got to stop this run and force him into drop back pass situations. Next guy we're going to be diving into here is their star tight end, Kenyon Sadiq, the All-American. This is their top threat. This is the guy we got to stop if we're going to beat Oregon. He's second on the team in targets, first in receptions, and second in yards, also first in first down receptions. I mean, they're going to get this guy the ball, and he's going to move those chains. This is who we want to stop the ball going to if we are going to beat this football team. He's solid in the run game. He's going to not be as good as Jameer Johnson. I think he's the better run blocker, but he's certainly good in his own right? He's going to be a plus addition. He's not a liability. He'll get in there. He'll mix it up. But I think his real special trait is in the pass game. He's one of the elite separators in college football, especially for tight ends. A real matchup nightmare. He's too big for a corner to cover. He's too fast for a safety to cover. Causes a lot of problems. Now, what is Sadiq's flaw? 12% drop rate. That's the bottom 5th percentile for all of college football. That's something that it's going to be a little fluky, right? Game to game. Some games he's going to catch everything. Other games he might have a few more drops. But if you're lucky, Sadiq's having an off day, he'll have a few drops in there. Way more than you'd expect for a guy this talented. This is really his only flaw as a football player. On top of that, Oregon's not afraid to get him involved in the screen game. They're going to dump it off to him behind the line of scrimmage, give him a chance to do something after the catch. Pretty solid rack threat for them as well. They'll get him involved deep down the field. He's an awesome contested catch threat. He's all around a phenomenal player, but again, that drop rate is something that is a little scary for the offense. That inconsistency that sometimes pops up in Sadiq that you wouldn't really expect for a player of his quality could be a game changer here. Be aware, Kenyon Sadiq might drop the football a little bit, but if he doesn't, it's going to be a long day for the Texas Tech defense trying to stop this Kenyon Sadiq. Next thing we're going to dive into here is P and 10. P and 10 is the first play of a drive, if you don't know. So you come out as an offense, you get that first play to start the series, that first down. This is P and 10. All right, different than an earn first. We separate these things out. You can find some really good tendencies on an offense. Earn first means you gain the yardage to gain that first down. P and 10, you just were given that, right? You start with that. And we know Oregon wants to run the rock. Here on P and 10, they're up to 68% run percentage. I mean, they're going to come after you in the run game. They're going to love outside zone, inside zone, and counter. As we know, that's their bread and butter, and they stick to that on P and 10. Now, if we look at what they do when they're FIB. FIB is formation into the boundary. That means the short side of the field, they're putting speed into that, or the majority of their receivers. So if it's a 3-by-1 set, they got the 3 receivers into there. If it's a 2-by-2 set, they got the tight end to the field and the 2 receivers into the boundary. That is FIB. Now, FIB is still super run heavy, but we get a little change in the preferred run types here on P and 10. It's all outside zone and counter. We haven't seen any inside zone yet on P and 10. The other thing to be alert of, trick plays. They run a lot of trick run plays coming out of this. You get an end around, so you get speed into that boundary. You get that FIB. Be ready for a trick run. That's what's going to be one of the things that they throw at you in that run game. Pass game, RPO, screens, and play action. Those are their bread and butter. No drop back pass shown up yet on P and 10 situations this season. Jumping into the earned first downs. A little bit difference of attack. Not nearly as run heavy, but still fairly run heavy. Again, it's Oregon. They want to run the rock on you. 57% run on an earned first down. Their top run concepts here are inside zone, duo, and outside zone. So you're getting a little bit more up the middle type runs, not as much to the outside as we saw with a P and 10 situation, but still fairly run heavy for a team. Pass game, you're going to get RPO'd, you're going to get play actions, you're going to get screens. Now you dive into the FIB world. This is where it stays extremely run heavy. 72% run, duo, inside zone, outside zone. Getting in the pass game here, RPO, screens, and drop back pass. Kind of a big difference here from the P and 10 world versus the earned first down world. We saw no drop back pass in the entire P and 10 situations for Oregon. Now you got drop back pass. So kind of changes what you're doing here when you got to be alert for different things. You see that formation to the boundary after an earn first, you might get some true drop back pass game, whereas P and 10 don't have to worry about it. You might want to sell out a little bit more against the run and stop that with being alert for play action behind it. Next, we'll be jumping into 3rd and 1. And I like to break down my third downs very uniquely. I like to have it divided up into where I see big play calling changes. And 3rd and 1 is completely different than 3rd and 2. A lot of people, if you were to put, hey, 3rd and short, 3rd and 1 to 3, your run pass numbers would be way different. 3rd and 1 is really its own world for the Oregon offense. 2 to 3 is a lot more similar to each other. So 3rd and 1, 75% run overall. And you're only getting inside zone and QB sneak. So these are fast downhill runs. They're going to try to punch you in your mouth and gain that first down. They got 25% pass also, and it's been all play action and RPOs. Nothing too deep down the field either. We're looking at this, nothing more than 10 yards down the field. They're just trying to get that first down, not trying to get cute with it, but they'll boot and they'll do some of that stuff with it as well on 3rd and 1. Now you jump into the 3rd and 1 FIB world, it's 90% run, a lot more run heavy. There's never been a QB sneak when they go FIB. So that's another big alert. You can cancel out the QB sneak world. Where you get an inside zone, fullback run, and pull lead. You get play action here. The play action play they ran was a boot play into the boundary. Gabriel picked up the first down on it. So just things to be alert for. They booted into the boundary. They're going to run inside zone. You can cancel out the QB sneak when they have a formation into the boundary. Next up, we got 3rd and 2 to 3. And as you look at this graphic here, it's a completely different world than 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1, very run heavy, 75% run. Whereas 3rd and 2 to 3, we got 50-50 run pass. The run game is also completely different in 3rd and 2 to 3 versus 3rd and 1. We don't have any pullers on 3rd and 1. Everything is inside zone, downhill concepts. Whereas you get into 3rd and 2 to 3, it's very gap scheme heavy. You got counter, pull, lead, duos, and things that sometimes lead to more explosive runs, a little bit more risky. And then their top pass concept here is going to be drop back pass. That's what they do the most. You get a little bit more RPO and you do get the play action, but really a completely different world than we saw on 3rd and 1. You go into the FIB world. Run is 100%, but they only got 1 rep and it was a draw. Next up, we got 3rd and 4 to 6. And in 3rd and 4 to 6, we see a real change in their offense again. They jump from 50-50 run pass to 79% pass. Drop back pass, quick game, and RPOs. Not a whole bunch of play action involved here. In the run game, you get inside zone, pull lead, and outside zone. Again, only one rep of FIB. Not a huge part of what they do, as you see on third downs. This is more of a normal down and distance script and situation. But when they did, it was run, and they ran a counterplay. Next, we're getting into 7 and 9, and this is where it gets real pass heavy, all right? You get 86% pass. They're going to run drop back pass, screen. You do get a little bit of quick game involved in this too. Run game has inside zone, duo, and outside zone. They have never ran FIB in these situations. When they want to push the ball deeper downfield on these situations, which they will do, it's deep down the sideline. They're not working the middle too much here in this situation. Really going to get shots on the sideline if they're going to take a shot, but they're trying to move these chains, be ready for routes at the sticks. Next, we got 3rd and 10 to 14, all right? So the reason I have it at 10 to 14 here for these 3rd and long situations is I don't want the noise of 3rd and extra long. Things can really change up there, right? If it's 3rd and 15, you're really backed up. You got to make a much bigger play here. 3rd and 10 to 14, you're backed up, you're behind the chains, but it's a way different play calling. You can look at this in the passing map here. They're not really doing anything past the chains here. Versus 3rd and 7 and 9, they'll take a shot, try to make a play deeper down the field. But these routes are being ran at the sticks. They're trying to find a route open at the sticks, gain that first down. You're going to get drop back pass. You do get the screen game involved a bit here as well, but this is more of a true drop back pass situation. They also get the back out a lot in these situations. Pretty heavy scat protection, 5-man there. A good opportunity to get after the quarterback and send some heat. I think if you get them in this 3rd and 10, 3rd and 14 situation, this is when you want to go after the quarterback, heat him up, and force him to throw short of the sticks, tackle, rally, and force him to punt. Next, we'll be diving into their 11 personnel attack. And as I mentioned earlier, these personnel groupings are going to tell a lot of the story of what they're going to do. And we see some big changes kind of in their FIB world in particular. But starting in just their normal set, who are the starters in this group? We got Malik Benson, number 4. He's going to be playing outside receiver for them. Next, we got in the slot, Cooper Perry, number 17. Then the tight end, All-American, the guy we got to stop, Kenyon Sadiq, number 18. And then the other outside receiver we got is Jeremiah McClellan. Jumping into their run-pass splits, they're 44% run to 55% pass. Pretty balanced attack. They're going to RPO you, hit you with play action, and then you get drop-back pass here, which... And when you get into these heavier personnel groupings, we see the drop back pass drastically decrease. Run game is inside zone, duo, outside zone. Get in the FIB world. Previously, we saw it all being like 70% run in FIB. Right now, in 11 personnel, 58% run. So still a run heavier situation, but not nearly as high. You're getting the same type of run concepts. You got inside zone, duo, and outside zone. A lot more RPO, play action, but then you get the screen game more involved when you get the FIB sets with 11 personnel. For the 12 personnel attack, you're going to see Jeremiah Johnson enter in as more of that U tight end, coming in for Cooper Perry as that slot previously, right? So now we enter this 12 personnel world. There's more run heavy, but still pretty balanced. It's 55% run, 45% pass. They're going to love outside zone, counter, and then inside zone. In the pass game, you're going to get RPO'd, play action, a little bit of drop back pass, but there's a real big gap between the RPO and play action world in these worlds. Looking at the FIB world, it's the same type of thing that you're getting here. It's still 55% to 45%, so no change in what they're calling there that way, but the run game changes a bit. You get duo, you get outside zone, and then trick plays pop up here. Be ready in the pass game for RPOs, play actions, and screens. Little bit different passing game and run game, but overall the same essence of what they are calling, just different ways of what they're calling. Diving into their 12 personnel player tendencies, if 83 is in that game, be ready to run the rock. That is an 88% run percentage. Be ready. That's a massive indicator, especially for early downs. They're a really heavy outside zone. They're going to marry that with inside zone and duo. A slot tight end on the ball, alert a crossing route. If it's a slot wide receiver, they've never been on the ball. So alert something up. There's probably something interesting that's going to happen if all of a sudden they're going to put that wide receiver on the ball. Lastly, slot wide receiver off the ball is all crossers, screens, and then a little bit of go balls. Jumping into their 21 personnel attack, the wide receivers stay Malik Benson, Jeremiah McClellan, and Kenyon Sadiq as the tight end. The running backs that they're using are mostly number 23 and number 0, Hill Jr. and Davison. The run game is the primary focus here. They're at 59% run. They're running inside zone, outside zone, and counter, a little bit more downhill. And in the pass game, 41% pass. It's very heavy play action, RPO, and then screen game. No real drop back pass. It's not really a big thing they do in this situation. Jumping in the FIB world, it is 70% run. And you're going to get a lot of outside zone counter sprinkled in with a little bit of inside zone. And then very heavy with the RPOs, a little bit of play action, a little bit of screens. Screens and play action were about equal. Looking at the 21 personnel player tendencies, we're going to see that in 21P, if they got a slot wide receiver, he's going to run a post or he's running in the flat. Pretty basic. The other stuff are a bunch of one hitters. So these are the bread and butters here. Looking at the slot tight end, it's really heavy hitches and then a little bit of out-breaking routes. I believe it was like 55% hitch routes is what they were running with the slot tight end. If number 9 is in the game, alert run. And all third and fourth down, 21P is run heavy. That's going to include our Oregon scouting report for you. I think the keys to victory here is for Oregon to be held under 120 yards by that Texas Tech defense. If they were to run the ball on Texas Tech, they're going to have a heck of a day. If Texas Tech can stop that, get Dante Moore into those drop back pass situations, something he hasn't had to do a whole lot this year. Get him a little bit outside that comfort zone. I think that's a great recipe for success. If not, I think it's going to be a really long day for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, follow, subscribe. Hopefully you got some good ball knowledge for when you're sitting around watching this game next Saturday to be able to point out, hey, that tight end's on the ball. He's going to run a hitch route. Make it seem like you're a very informed, diehard Oregon football fan. Or you've really set up this game plan and you're a Texas Tech Red Raider and you know how this team is going to stop this Oregon Duck offense. Thank you, and I'm Andy O'Rourke.